bikers, how's it going out there? Hope you guys are staying busy the best you can. Just to recap on the summer so far, summer is pretty much over with. It might extend for maybe a couple weeks longer. Um, for me, during the winter, I only had the Moose Lodge. That's all I had was the moose, and that was only 2 Saturdays out of the month. So that's not very good in the winter. But I've got other little income coming in, but not much. But anyway, so to recap this summer, interesting summer. I hope you guys, I know it depends on what region. Maybe some of you guys aren't being affected by this inflation that's going on right now. And the shit's going to hit the fan here pretty quick with our current president. Anyways, but I don't know if you guys are follow politics, but yeah, shit's gonna hit the fan here real quick. But anyways, got through this week and paid my respects and prayers to the people and families that were affected by 9/11, another year. And so what else is going on? That's about it. So what I wanted to recap and vlog about really is just, ironically, I had one of our community members mention something about saying he liked the last week's vlog, but he mentioned about tip jars, and I started laughing. I go, geez, was this guy got ESP or something? And because that's what I was planning on doing, was talking about your tip jar. Simple, it's not rocket science. The thing is, though, where can I start from there? Let's back up a little bit, because one question he did ask me, which I wasn't really going to talk about, but I think it's an important question, is a lot of you guys, including myself, feel uncomfortable mentioning the tip jar when performing. It's so funny. I did for a while, but I don't really do it. I don't really mention the tip jar. But now when people come out of the woodwork and they make requests, I'll just nonchalant. I won't say it to the audience, but I'll say it to the person that's coming up and hitting my ear, saying, "Hey, do you know this, that?" And I go, "Oh yeah, I do. I can do something, or whatever." And so I usually will let them know. I said, "Well, I don't have a problem doing it, but just please don't forget about my appreciation station." That's what I call it, appreciation station. It's one of the things I call it, or my tip jar. Doesn't matter what you call it. I think there's a couple different terms. Actually, I'm kind of curious on what you guys name your tip jars. If it's just your tip jar, I heard over the grapevine years back he called it his appreciation station, so I kind of stole that from him. And there's some other ones out there. So whatever you call your tip jar, whatever name you have for it, or whatever you call it. It's you should mention it once in a while. I think you should mention it. I don't, but last weekend I did. I was kind of upset because this guy comes up and he says, he goes, "It's my husband's birthday." And I go, "Okay, cool. I'm cool with that." And what's his name? Winston. His name's Winston. Go figure. And they were with another couple, I guess a straight couple, and they were older, husband and wife, but they were sitting with them, and they're chatting up, and they're having a good time listening to my music. So he came up and he says, "It's my husband's birthday," and he says it's also I think her name was Deb. It's her birthday too. And so, long story short, I did a nice little, cool little birthday song that I do. I don't do the traditional birthday song; it's a bluesy one. And then I'll think of some words to rhyme to it or whatever, and it a lot of times it really comes out pretty cool. But anyway, so I did this thing, and long story short, they after I gave them the birthday song and whatever, and the whole crowd got the whole crowd going or whatever, and so they left. Didn't put anything in my tip jar, just left. And both couples, I think all four couples left. So it kind of ticked me off a little bit. So I'm like, whatever. So I just spurted it out, and I said, in between one of my songs, I said something. I made him laugh a little bit or whatever, and I said, "Okay, you guys, please don't forget about my appreciation station." And I'm like pointing at it, right? It's in front of me. So, and then and then all of a sudden, there was almost a line to come up to my tip jar because I had said something. I couldn't believe it. They're coming out right after the other. I'm going, okay, cool. And I think I made like 100 and I don't know what it was. And it's real slight. People are really having a tough time tipping right now. Surfers, anybody in the service business and entertainment, I could tell this summer, oh, it's bad. People are holding on to their money. So, but that was nice. I ended up making, I don't know, I can't remember what I think. It was like 150 in tips, which is not bad for 2 hours of work. So, yeah, so I got that going, and that was the end of that. So now, how can you say it comfortably? Because I know I was awkward when I would say something about my tip jar, but I saw a band up in Mammoth in our old stomping grounds in the Eastern Sierras, and they were kind of like an Irish rock punk band. They did originals and they did covers as well. But this guy was constantly plugging his tip jar. I mean, every 2 songs, tip jar. Hey, you guys, don't forget about my tip jar. Just kind of yelling it out. So I'm gonna work on that myself. I mean, especially if it's slow and people aren't coming up and tipping, and because it's so tight right now and the inflation we got going on right now. Yeah, it's tough. So anyways, yeah, it's an awkward thing. It's that's the thing nobody can really tell you how to deal with that. I mean, I could share with you what I did, like I just told you. And, but you'd really, you have to go by your own character, your own, and I know a lot of us don't even want to mention anything. We just want people to come up and start dropping, Benjis in there, right? So anyways, yeah, it's an uncomfortable kind of thing. So you really have to really just kind of put it in your character and your vocabulary, every once in a while, every 3 or 4 songs. Hey, you guys, all right, I'm glad you enjoyed that song or whatever. I said, please don't forget about my tip jar, and then move on. Don't emphasize on the tip jar, but put it out there just real quick. That's how I have kind of overcome the fear of saying anything. I just kind of say it kind of quickly or in with something else that I'm talking about. So that being said, yeah, because there's really, each of us are different, so you kind of have to do that your own way. Now, as far as tip jars go, I just got a new tip jar. Let me show this to you. Oh. Okay, I got a new tip jar. What are you doing there, lizard? Okay, so here's my old tip jar right here. I can't see, the camera went off. Okay, this is it right here. And it's kind of a cool can, a bunch of stickers and peace signs and flames and American, God bless America, and yeah, all kinds of mammoth on here. Got a mammoth sticker on here, a peace sign, and then I put tips. But because this thing is getting all rusted out, I mean, it does stand out. It's kind of, it's kind of got the the rust on it and stuff, because this was a brand new can when I got it. So this has been working for me for a long time. It's got dented up, so, but it works fine. But I'm thinking, well, because of this year has been really tight, people are really tight and tipping, So I went and did this. I went to DIY, got this thing, this plastic thing. It's got holes at the bottom, but nothing could slip through it. But this thing here is a little bit bigger. So, it demands that you put in larger bills, 50, hundreds, stuff like that. So, no, but it is bigger, black. It does stand out. Now, I was just thinking after I had put this thing together, I got Bigfoot on here, American flag. I'm a patriot boy. And so, yeah. But then I'm thinking on it. I'm like thinking, well, I don't know if you really have to write the word tip on it. I did. But, because some of these places that I play at, like the Social, this is a resort town, so you get a lot of people that are foreigners. And, I think everybody knows what tips mean. But, I think for the most part, you guys let me know in the comments below, like what kind of tip jar you got, or if you have anything on it, and also what you call your tip jar, when you're announcing it or whatever. Just curious of what some of you guys are using. But this thing here is, I've tried it and I'm like, maybe it's a little too big. I don't know. But then I've seen other bands like this, the Music Street Band, they use like a, I don't know if you ever been to Costco and you've seen those yellow cheese, those round cheese balls, and they're in a big ass container. It looks like a little miniature glass keg, but it's made out of plastic, but it looks like a kegger. And I swear to God, it must be like 3 gallons. I mean, it's huge. This is a gallon, so maybe this is 2 gallons. I don't know. This is a gallon bucket. This is maybe 2 or a gallon and a half, maybe 2 gallons, maybe. Yeah, maybe it might be a 2 gallon. But I swear to God, that cheese container that, I've seen at Costco's or some of these, like Final Mart or something like that, they're huge. And it's clear. And I don't think I think they maybe pasted or taped something on the outside. I don't remember seeing the word tip on it. But the thing is to make them colorful. That I know. So if you're going to have a tip jar out there, make sure it doesn't blend in with the rest of the area, the wood, or if you're outside, it doesn't blend in with the trees or the cement or something like that. You want it to stick out. So, matter of fact, I am going to get more stickers on this sucker. I'm going to flutter it with some real colorful stickers. And as far as the tip goes, putting the letters in tip, you get those letters and you just stick them right on. You could put tip on there or not. Or if you wanted to, you could put appreciation station or whatever you call your tip jar. But I just go, you know what, I'm just going to put tips just to make sure it's clear that that's what that's for. But a lot of people, I think a lot of tip jars that I've seen, they just use like a glass jar, a plastic bucket with stickers all over it. So you can pretty much tell what that's for. So, and then also, you could leave the tip jar. I like the tip jar a little bit closer to me. I don't want it too far away from me. And depending where you're set up and how you're set up, you can put that tip jar in a higher traffic area, that gets a little more traffic, and people walking by or whatever. But just be careful. Because usually if you stick it usually you're not set up in front of a high traffic area. Not all the time. Sometimes you are. Sometimes the walkway is like right in front of you, wherever the traffic goes, But for the most part, you're kind of in the corner or by yourself, or you're set up and you got your own little stage real estate right there. So there's not a lot of traffic in around you. Just use common sense. Don't put it in a, some people do say, emphasize it, put it in a high traffic area. Yeah, but make sure that high traffic area is not far away from you. Make sure it's close by. And sometimes they are. Sometimes they're right on the side of you. But just put it out there where people could see it. That's the main thing. And the rest will come. And that's all I got to say about that. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. So, yeah, this weekend I'm only playing. I only got one date this weekend, and that's at the Moose Lodge. But I also a quick update also is these guys in the valley here or up on the mountain here. They have been wanting me. I guess I kind of put it out there. We were at the Moose Lodge, and I think I had a beer or something, and I said, and somebody asked me, he goes, well, you know, are you going to ever get in a band? I said, well, you know, if the wind blows just right, and you know, you meet your music making brothers and sisters, and it seems to be cooking, then I'm open to that. You know, giving it another try or giving it a try and see what happens, and maybe just do some blues stuff or more of a edgy kind of top 40 country. I mean, top 40. Well, I mean, you know, classic rock songs. Because a lot of songs that I do, believe it or not, even though I do upbeat type songs, and those upbeat type songs do have you know, a gainy guitar in it or something a little more powerful, but I always make it work. I don't stretch it too far away from the acoustical realm, but if it sounds good on acoustic, and even though it's a more of a hard rock song, but if it sounds good on acoustic, I'll do it. But if it doesn't, and it's like, don't bother, dude. You know, you've got two screaming guitars, stacks of Marshalls. Yeah, it's probably not a good song to do on acoustic. But there is some that you can convert, and it doesn't sound bad. So keep that in mind too. But anyways, that's all I got to say, you guys. You guys have a wonderful week. Hang in there. Say some prayers for our country, and say some prayers that prices start going down maybe one day soon. I don't think it's going to be for another year and a half, or maybe even close to 2 years until we get somebody else in office. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So, and my prayers go out to all of you out there that are, and thank you for hanging around and letting me share with you what I do, and learning from my mistakes that I might make, and stuff like that. But you guys all rock. Keep on rocking in the free world, and I'll talk to you next week.